Welcome to Box on the Box, Rock and Celluloid, Bot for short. Remember to share and subscribe these videos if you enjoy them. So my top 10 films by a given director today is Sidney Lumet, or Sidney Lumet as people pronounce it. Great American filmmaker, tends to blow hot and cold. When he's cold, he's cold. You just sort of think, why did you bother making that? And when he's hot, you're just like, that's fucking brilliant. There's not a lot in between. Very prolific filmmaker, probably guilty of making too many films, but I always find it interesting in filmmakers where they just keep doing a film a year, sometimes two a year, one every 2 years. The kind of opposite of the Kubrick thing. So he kind of made his name in TV, came out of the Playhouse 90 TV stuff, and so on, like Frankenheimer, like Arthur Penn, those are Peckinpah, those directors from the era. So they kind of predate the movie brats, really. They're the link between the studio system and the new wave of Hollywood in the late 60s and into the 70s. Mike Nichols will be another one as well from that era. The few that didn't make the cut from 1964, there's two films, The Failsafe, and Pawnbroker. So Failsafe is his take on the nuclear threat. There's a spoiler alert here, so if you don't want to know what happens, switch off here or forward. So basically, there's a nuclear attack by accident on Moscow, I think. Walter Matthau plays the kind of mad kind of scientist guy spouting statistics to Henry Fonda's president. In the end, Henry Fonda's president has to accept a kind of reprisal attack, but America will go, look, we won't do anything more on New York, in full knowledge that his wife is in the city and will certainly die. Henry Fonda's really good. It's done kind of docu style, but with those kind of in black and white with those big kind of wide angle lenses at times. So it flopped. Doctor Strangelove's not a huge hit, but its satirical element did better, and that got the Oscar nominations. But this is a good film. It shows Lumet's gift with actors, photography, staging. He is renowned as an actor's director. He used to rehearse 2 weeks before films, and actors really love to work with him. And then The Pawnbroker, this got some Oscar nomination recognition with Rod Steiger. Great performance. He plays a pawnbroker, I think in New York, but he's a Holocaust survivor. He's traumatized by it. He's got PTSD effectively. But it's quite interesting. This is black and white again, but it uses flashback structures. And this is inspired by the French New Wave. So there's a film called Last Year at Marienbad, I think that's how you pronounce it, by Alain Resnais, which uses kind of flashback structure. We see this all the time now with films, fractured narrative, but this is one of the films that has that element. It also has a great performance by Brock Peters as a kind of a pimp come money debt collector, enforcer. Really good. Steiger's great. He stays the right side of his overacting. It's probably one of the first Hollywood films. So there's one called The Juggler with Kirk Douglas as well from the 50s to look at the impact of the Holocaust. And then you've got The Deadly Affair from, I thought it was 1966. It says 67 on Wikipedia. This is a really good John le Carré adaptation. So James Mason plays the great George Smiley character. It's got Maximilian Schell. It's set in Britain, and it's quite cool. It shows Lumet's sort of skill at going to another country, and it just feels very British. He'll achieve this again. It feels like a British filmmaker's made this. It's got a British look. There's a great scene in it where Simone Signore, I think that's pronounced it, gets strangled from behind. Well, not behind. She's sat, I'm giving a spoiler here, sorry. She's sat in a theatre. Maximilian Schell's character comes in, and he kind of puts his hand on the back of her neck and kind of silently strangles her from behind, using those kind of spy techniques. And there's an interesting death scene when the Schell character dies. He basically gets blatted in the water, crushed by a barge in the wash from another boat. So quite interesting. Also explores, what's the really famous one? Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Smiley has marriage troubles, doesn't he? And it kind of explores that with his wife. And Mason's interesting, he was a guy who worked with Lumet on a few occasions. Then another one's Equus, a little stagey from 1977, but a great Richard Burton performance, as this is basically an Anthony Schaffer play, who did Sleuth. And again, Oscar-nominated performance from Burton. He plays the psychiatrist Martin Dysart. Peter Firth of Spooks fame, also Oscar-nominated, plays a young stable hand who's killed the horses in his care, and he's used a sickle to take out their eyes. It's really horrible, but it's really disturbing, and it gets in to Peter Firth's psyche, the Richard Burton character, and he explores why this has happened. Not a great film, but interesting, worth seeing. Q&A as well from 1990, so this is a gritty cop thriller. Lumet's the master of the cop thriller, which we'll come to. And Nick Nolte plays a horrible corrupt cop in this. Timmy Hutton's in it, explores racism, homophobia, transphobia as well, in one scene in particular. It's good. The cinematography is a bit piss poor on this, very funny colour palette, but it is worth checking out. And I must confess, it's a film, it's just never on bloody TV, and I'm yet to see it, and it's The Prince of the City. So this is his cop from 1981. This has, I'm just going to check how many speaking parts it has again. It's quite extraordinary. I can't, let me just find this. I can't find it quickly enough. Apologies. It's got about 135 speaking parts, I think. Lumet, shot in 52 days. So again, he uses rehearsal, planning, preparation. Shot this in 52 days. It's epic. I think it's nearly 3 hours long. It's supposed to be superb. Treat Williams is in it. He uses kind of non-stars. Treat Williams is actually an actor I like. So I need to see that. Okay, so the top 10. Coming in at number 10. Sorry, I'm flipping my page. I'm going through his now. I mentioned about him shooting The Deadly Affair. So in 1972, he came over to Britain to make a film with Sean Connery called The Offence. The script from this is from the creator of Z Cars. Again, this just feels very British. It's got a great look. Maybe Connery's best ever performance, or certainly one of his best. And Connery and Lumet had a quite interesting director-star partnership. So what happened was Connery made a film with him that will appear later. And when he did Diamonds Are Forever, Connery got a deal. He got a $1 million salary that he gave to the Scottish Educational Trust, and the agreement that he could make, I think it's 2 films of his choice, and this was one of them with United Artists. Prior to this, he made another film which will appear with Lumet, and they went on to do another one, and they also did Family Business. This was a lot later on in Lumet and Connery's careers, when Connery kind of made his 90s comeback with Matthew Broderick and Dustin Hoffman, but it wasn't a hit. But anyway, this basically, Ian Bannon plays a guy accused of child murder, paedophilia. Connery's the detective in charge of the case. He's questioning him in an interrogation room. It's very intense. It's got like really overexposed strip lighting, and he starts to identify with the criminal. He's kind of the criminal's getting his head, and Connery it gets really violent. It's got a really cool use of slow-mo. The camera works great. Connery's great. There's great sort of depictions of a kind of modernist housing estate, maybe in Scotland. I'm not sure where it's filmed. But it's really good. It's well worth checking out. It's intense. It's quite ambiguous. Again, it just shows Lumet's skill with actors. Bannon and Connery are excellent. So that's my number 10 choice. My number 9 choice is, what a lovely surprise this film was. Lumet, I'll just give you just a bit of gen. So prior to this, he just, in the 80s, he'd had Prince of the City, another film, which we'll come to. And then nothing great. Running on Empty was kind of quite well received. Christine Latty, I think, got an Oscar nomination. No, she didn't. It was River Phoenix. He did Family Business. That was a flop. There's Q&A, which I thought was good. And then there's just a series of films which didn't work. A Stranger Among Us, which kind of explored the Orthodox Jewish community. Murder, I think. Guilty of Sin, which was kind of a sex thriller with Don Johnson and Rebecca De Mornay. Night Falls on Manhattan. Critical Care, which was some satire, healthcare satire. Gloria, which I think had Sharon Stone in a remake of the John Cassavetes film. Then he didn't do a film for 7 years. He did a film called Find Me Guilty, which is a film with Vin Diesel. What's bizarre with this is Vin Diesel has hair. I haven't seen it. Apparently completely flopped. Obviously, if you know what Vin Diesel's acting's like, you realise that was a mistake to work with him because he's just the laziest actor. So he just had a really, nothing time. I mean, all these films flopped. I remember Nightfalls of Manhattan, sorry, that was another legal thriller. And then his final film, he did a film called Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. It was written by someone called Kelly Masterson. It had Philip Seymour Hoffman and Ethan Hawke, Marissa Tomei, Albert Finney, I think Jenna Rowlands. Actually, I'm just going to check that. It doesn't say yet. I maybe could be wrong there. It's really good. It's a thriller, basically. Cork and Hoffman, they are brothers, have debt of some kind, or maybe it's family debt, and they rob the family jewellery store, and it goes spectacularly wrong. They're completely inept. Finney plays the father. The acting's great by the principals in this. Finney and Hoffman in particular got a really powerful end scene, and again, it's just really economically shot, but it just shows Lumet's ability to stage a thriller, but look at family drama and work with actors. And I mean, at this point, how old was he? I will tell you. He was born 1924. Yeah, he was like 83 when he did it. And it just showed that with the right script and right actors, he made a really good final film. My brother's not a guy who watches a lot of films, but he caught this and he said, I saw this film the other night. Really good. And yeah, lovely surprise. Okay, my number 8 choice is his second collaboration with Sean Connery. This is 1971's The Anderson Tapes. So this is a heist thriller, but it has surveillance. It basically predates the Watergate conspiracy. So there's a big apartment block. Sean Connery gets out of prison. He plays Duke Anderson, moustacheless, and he plans his house in this apartment block. But basically, the FBI are wiretapping some mobsters that Connery goes with to get seed money to do the crime. They end up bugging the apartment, and it's an illegal bugging. It's really good. They're actually going to rob the apartment because it's full of wealthy people of the art and so on. It's quite funny. There's quite quirky characters in it. Martin Balsam. There's an older guy. I can't remember the name of the actor, but he's really good. It's also the debut film, I think, for Christopher Walken. He's really effective. It's got Alan King in it. It's really good, and it's got really good use of kind of electronic soundtrack by Quincy Jones. It's well shot. It's tense, and Connery's really good in it. He plays, a bit of a twat. Dan Cannon's in it. Again, infinitely one of Connery's best films, best performances, and a kind of, probably like, it was a minor hit, this. It was like the only kind of hit Connery had other than Bond, maybe, and well-received film, apart from The Fence, which flopped. But there's Man Who Would Be King and Robin Marin, which were well-received. But Connery after Bond, he had a Diamonds, he had a really lean phase till his 80s comeback. Okay, my number 7 choice is, this film features for me probably Paul Newman's best ever performance. He should have won the Oscar for this. Ben Kingsley won it for Gandhi. I think Ben Kingsley's excellent in Gandhi, but the Academy should have realised it was Newman's turn and given it to him for this. It's the verdict. This, again, was a decent-sized hit, I think. Again, 54 million gross back in 1982. Basically, Newman was coming out of a lean phase from the mid-70s. Then he had a hit and an Oscar nomination for Absence of Malice. Film I've not seen for a long time, but very good. Teams up with Lumet, and they made this great courtroom thriller, which is about medical neglect and insurance. A woman is in a coma, and Newman takes a case. He plays an ambulance chasing law. He's an alcoholic drinker. He's really good, Newman, in this. I mean, he's a bit of a sleaze. He's deeply flawed. And one of the techniques they used in this film is to shoot at a very low angle, so it almost feels like the cameras are pressing, the ceiling's almost pressing down on Newman. But Newman's great in it. He takes a case and redeems himself. James Mason is fucking amazing in this. Mason, in one of his last films, Gets an Oscar nomination. He plays a lawyer, and his nickname is the Prince of fucking Darkness. There's a great scene where he's running through in his office with one of his witnesses. It's just magnificent, Mason. If you're a James Mason fan, watch this film. Charlotte Rampling's superb. She plays a romantic interest for Newman, but watch the film. And it's a really kind of some hard scenes with her. It's a good movie, this. Got a lot of Oscar nominations, was a hit. Shame Newman didn't win the Oscar. The verdict at number 7. Number 6 is, this is a Christmas Boxing Day favourite for me. And this is a really innovative film. This basically creates the all-star Agatha Christie. So it's Murder on the Orient Express again, a huge hit in its day. Lumet's seriously hot in the 70s. There's a period from about 73 through to 76. He's one of the hottest actors in Hollywood. This is a really big hit. Let's just look at the gross of this. $35 million back in 1974. So, big hit. Great all-star cast. Finney as Hercule Poirot, Lauren Bacall, Martin Balsam, Bergman, Oscar-winning, Jacqueline Bisset, Jean-Pierre Cassel, Connery, John Gielgud, Wendy Hiller, Anthony Perkins, Vanessa Redgrave, Rachel Roberts, Richard Widmark, Michael York. I mean, this is top-notch. Great photography by Alan Jeffrey Unsworth, Anne V. Coates edits, Richard Rodney Bennett, really cool musical score. Basically, every Agatha Christie adaptation, even if you have it on British TV, if it's a British TV one, it'll have well-known actors in each one. The simple reason for it is, you got so many characters, you need to establish character interest early. So what Lumet recognised is, I need to cast actors that people know, and they'll bring their baggage with them that the audience knows, and we won't have to, establish or flesh them out as much. And then this formula is repeated on Death on the Nile, was a huge hit. Evil Under the Sun, less so. And obviously with Kenneth Branagh's recent remake. Really good. I mean, this is still really well shot. It's entertaining. And it's such a great whodunit. You don't know, if you've never seen Murder on the Orient Express, watch it, and it's just, it's really cool. It's a really great plot that Christie came up with, and it uses a Lindenberg kidnapping as a kind of plot, so it's really good. Look up the Lindenberg kidnapping, really famous case. Okay, number 5. I must confess, I'm putting this film up there, but I think it's great. I'm yet to fall in love with it, but it's got to be up there because it's one of the key 70s films, and it's Dog Day Afternoon from 1975. This is a massive hit. Look at the gross. $50 million gross. I mean, you've got a plot about a bank robber who, holds up a bank so his lover can get a sex change operation. Great performance from Pacino. Fantastic. Amazing cinematography by Victor Kemper. Sweaty. And this contains shows Lumet's gift with actors. He could work with stage actors, he could work with method actors, and he's got one of the great method moments in this, which is Attica. So basically, you've got all the extras outside the bank. Pacino shoots the scene. There's recently had the Attica prison riots, and Pacino improvised a line, Attica, in character. This G's up the crowd, and the crowd responds in reality to that. Brilliant use of how the method style worked, drawing from real experience, real life. John Cazale's great. That guy, what did he make? 5 films, and all, 5 of the best films ever, and then tragically died young. Really good, great climax, tense, watch it. My number 4 choice is his first collaboration with Connery. This is 1966's The Hill. This is a great film, black and white photography, almost documentary style at times. Connery, they're in a prison camp for soldiers. They have the vicious guards, and they make them run up and walk up and down this hill in the indigestion, in the scorching heat. Great cinematography. I think it's Oswald Morris. Let's check. It is, and there's great point of view shots where they make I think it's Alfred Lynch's character walk up with a gas mask on, and you get the point of view shot in the gas mask. Really good. Connery's great. This might be probably his best performance, I think. Really good. great climax. Really, again, very British in feel. Again, showing Lumet's ability to work with British actors and make a film full of British sensibility. So that's my number 4 choice. My number 3 choice is his great media satire. Again, this is coming at the end of his huge hits at the end of the 76. This film grosses 24 million, just under. So this is his great media satire. I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. This is still the only film to win a posthumous Best Actor Oscar. It was Peter Finch. So he plays Howard Rourke. Has a breakdown live on air, becomes the mad prophet of the airways. Basically, to get ratings, they kind of abandon his 60-minute style show and just put him on, and he just has rants. It's way ahead of its time. It looks at like how media will go. I mean, if you think about the Jeremy Kyle show, Jerry Springer, stuff like that. How TV went. Faye Dunaway won the Oscar. She plays the executive who pushes the ratings. And William Holden's excellent. He got an Oscar nomination. Probably split the vote, and Finch got it. I think actually Finch really should have been. It's that classic example. Really, he should have been a supporting actor. In actual fact, he's not on screen as much, but he's kind of like that Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal Lecter thing. He dominates so much, Finch, his character that and the fact that he died, it just meant he did it. And it's Beatrice Straight won the Best Supporting Actress Oscar, and she's only on screen for like less than 10 minutes, and she only shares about 3 scenes. Quite strange that, but a true supporting performance. Again, actors winning Oscars. Again, top cinematography, Owen Royceman. I think he shot The French Connection. I mean, really good. So amazing hot streak he was on. Okay, so my number 2 choice is his breakout film. This is his only second film. No, sorry, it's his debut film. This is one of the great debut films. Showed his skill, bringing all his techniques from working in theatre and with TV and single camera setups, long takes, stuff like that. It's 12 Angry Men. So this is great. This is one of the great liberal Hollywood films. You've got Henry Fonda in it as, he's a well-renowned liberal and Hollywood Democrat. I just love this film. The ensemble cast's amazing. And you'll recognise a lot of the ensemble cast. Lee J. Cobb, Jack Warden, E.G. Marshall, Ed Begley. Basically, the plot in a nutshell is they are the jurors. You don't see the case. They retire to the jury room to debate the case. I've actually sat on a jury, and it wasn't anything like 12 Angry Men, I can tell you that. But it's great. Basically, all of them think the kid's guilty. He's from the wrong side of the tracks. He's from a bad background. He's got form. And Fonda's the one guy who kind of questions the evidence, and he debates stuff, and he slowly but surely turns around every juror. And every juror in the room has a prejudice. And the final scene's great when he kind of breaks down the final prejudice of one of the jurors. And it's just really good. It kind of shows that, you've got to think about, behind these things. Great debut film and an all-time classic. And probably Lumet's most famous film, most classic film, but not my number 1 choice. So, number 10, I had The Offence. 9, Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, his final film. The Anderson Tapes, 8. Verdict, 7. Murder on the Orient Express, 6. Dog Day Afternoon, 5. The Hill, 4. Network 3, and 12 Angry Men 2. So my number 1 choice is, in my opinion, the greatest cop film ever made. Sorry, French Connection, and it's Serpico. So this is the great Al Pacino, Lumet team up. But I think this is the film that establishes Pacino not only as the key 70s star, but one of the greatest actors of his day. He's come off the back of The Godfather. That's his breakout film, but that's kind of supporting performance. This is his first big lead. Obviously, he does The Panic in Needle Park, but this year, 73 does Scarecrow as well with Gene Hackman. But this is Pacino's film all the way. Great tech credits on this. Cinematography by a guy called Arthur J. Omich. Quite interesting, he switched cinematographer every film. He didn't sort of have a key for photographic collaborator. Dee Allen, famous music film editor, female editor. I think she's female. Let me just yeah, so right, she was a film editing doctor. Yeah. So, yeah, right. Yeah, it's quite interesting. So I've just totally lost the plot there, but there's quite a history of great female film editors in Hollywood. So, yeah, it's got Oscar nominations, for Pacino, Lumet, stuff like that. Really good. Basically, he plays a cop and he uncovers corruption in the force, and he's undercover. And obviously, Lumet again explores some Prince of the Sea. It's a great film. It's even got a great Old English sheepdog in it as well. But Pacino's great. There's a great bit where he does, some classic shouting like Pacino, but it's before he becomes shouty. But you can see the seeds of what he'd become later. Pacino looks great. He's got a beard. It's just a classic cop image of the 70s in this. Really good. This is my number one choice. It's one of my favourite Pacino films, one of my favourite 1970s films, one of my favourite cop films. Well, I've said it's the greatest, isn't it? It's a film I could watch again now. So that's Sidney Lumet. So we managed 25 minutes there. It's quite a waffle, but he's a filmmaker well worth checking out. Hope you enjoyed that, and see you again. Thank you very much. Bye.